just being the awesome God that you are, Father. And we just continue to pray, Lord, for America, Lord God. And we ask that you be with our military forces, Lord God, as we go through this trying times, Lord. Be with our leaders, Lord God. We pray for the president and his staff, Lord God. Give them wisdom and understanding, Father, to continue to make the decisions, Lord God, for the people, Lord God. And Father, we ask that you be with our local leaders. Keep us all from any hurt, harm, and danger. We thank you for the people of Gulf County. We thank you for America, Lord, and we just thank you for, Lord God, just being the greatest country in the world. Father, be with us today. Keep us from any hurt, harm, and danger. Lead and guide us as we conduct the business of the people. Father, we give you praise, glory, and honors. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, good morning to everyone. Welcome to the January 8th special meeting. We just pray everybody had a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. We'll go right. We got a lot of things on the agenda this morning, and we'll go right into it with Ms. Herring with the NRCS grant agreement.
We have received the NRCS agreement. This is the agreement for wet debris removal. This is the federal portion. The agreement is for a project, total approved funds, local match and federal, for a total project of 5.7. The federal funding of that for construction is just over $4 million. We have a $1.3 million match, and then there's also funding in there of $400,000 for technical assistance costs. So we have received that agreement, and I have that available for your approval and chairman's signature.
Okay, all right, thank you, ma'am. Mr. Add anything, Mr.
Time is of the essence because we've waited on this match. We're hoping that this will be executed by them. The deadline is February sometime. Anyway, we're hoping that they'll execute it within the next couple of weeks. In the event, in addition to accepting this grant, in the event that they don't accept our two contractors, we already have Ashbrit under contract. They look pretty favorably about accepting that because it went through the federal process. Our inspector, which would be Dewberry, was not selected the same way since they've been Preble Rich has been our engineer for 25 plus years. So we may have to do a bid. So we want to, if they require it, we'd want to do a bid where we can get this turned around as quickly as possible. There is a timeline to this, and there'll be a ramping up mobilization time. So we don't want to run out of time. We want to get all this done as quickly as possible. Okay. So if you could accept the chairman to sign this award, and then in the event that we need to, go ahead and approve us to bid if required.
Okay, all right. Any questions, board members? If not, then I entertain a motion.
Motion for the chairman to sign.
All right, motion by Commissioner McDaniel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McCrone. Any further board discussion? Anyone in the public on this NRCS? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to the motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
And if I could get just 1 second, let Mark give you a quick update on what we're going to be doing, what we think we're going to be doing,
okay,
and how we're prioritizing.
Okay.
Mr. Commissioners, so early on, this is way back, I'm thinking February, March last year, we started identifying ditches that had a lot of limb debris, C&D still covered in them. We didn't realize at the time, so we went ahead and made a list of these ditches and approached NRCS about getting a grant to get them clean. We didn't realize until later on, as some of the other ditches that we didn't identify, you had the pine trees in them, but then you had limbs. You had limbs that would go in there and dirt and leaves, and it packed and made dams in places that we didn't realize. So you had substantial flooding at, y'all remember about a couple months ago at Pleasant Rest Cemetery? It was over a mile of the paved road underwater. For the first time in my 23 years at the county, the Overstreet Road went underwater, which is unheard of. I mean, so your outfall ditches that are taking water conveyance from our county public roads over to Wetapo Creek or to the canal or to riverine systems or the ponds, whatever it was designed back when the roads were built, aren't working. And we didn't realize there was a lot of them that weren't working until after we had those big rain events and had time to, look and see. And so we evaluated again, so we actually have a lot more ditches than what we actually have approved for. But the way that I understand it, they're gonna allow us to squeeze the balloon, and some of the ditches that we've had over a year now, we've cleaned some of them we haven't. So the ones that we've already cleaned, we'll take those off and we'll add ones that are important now. So we have a pretty good plan of what needs to be done. And if we do an inspection, I'll actually take them around and drive them and I'll show them. And it'd be very easy for me to explain from the windshield of what kind of problems we have and why we need to change some of the ditches. But we got a pretty good grasp of what ditches need to be cleaned, and now we have funding able to do it. So with approval and signature, we'll start this process in the next, I think it's a 200-day process. 220 days, we'll have the lion's share of what we have ditches problem in Gulf County cleaned up.
Okay.
So in addition to that, if we can get a motion, if necessary, to bid both the contractor and/or the inspection, if required by NRCS.
All right, I entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Commissioner Rogers, second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this? All right, anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0. All right, Ms. Herring, you still have the floor.
Yes, sir. The other part of that, we have received the grant we applied for with FDEN for Hurricane Michael, and we were awarded $2 million. That is $1 million for operating deficit and $1 million for revenue loss. I am requesting your acceptance and approval of that grant. We plan to use that funding in meeting the match for the NRCS project.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. All right, entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Commissioner McCrone.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this FDM grant? All right, anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, if
Yes, sir.
if you could authorize me to use the 1.3 million of this 2 million to match the NRCS grant that we just accepted prior to that, and we'll reserve the balance for you to decide how you're going to spend in the future.
All right, I entertain a motion.
So moved. Second.
All right, motion by Commissioner Rich, second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this? All right, anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, ma'am. All right, we're moving on down. Item C, resolution, gun owner rights. That's you, Mr. McCrone.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just wanted to present this resolution for a Second Amendment. If you watch the news and you watch what's going on in the country, and not saying, that something's going to happen tomorrow, but, our Second Amendment rights are one of our mainstays of what we believe, and just wanted to reaffirm that in this resolution. Michael, you want to explain it a little more than I can, and some other counties have done this, and we just want to, with socialism taking a hold in the country, certain areas that we want to, basically say where we stand, so, if you will.
Well, and I think, I don't know how many Florida counties, but several in Central Florida have passed this. Most of the counties in rural Virginia have done this because of the attack on Second Amendment, especially in Virginia after the off-year election. So this is just y'all going on record that we support the people's right to keep and bear arms, for law-abiding citizens to keep and bear arms, and for the federal government not to infringe upon that, our constitutional right.
And I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
Second.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner McCrone,
Second.
second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0. All right, Ms. Lanier. Ship projects. Ms. Paul, okay, all right, yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman,
Good morning.
Commissioners. We'll get right to the end of this because it looks like I've got the lion's share of this meeting today. I'm used to having that here lately for some reason. First of all, if I want to go to item D on your agenda, which is the award bid 1920-05 for the ship project for Bernice Van. If you look at pages 2 and 4, that just kind of tells you what 2 through 4, that tells you the bid. Actually, there were no bidders on this project, and I'd like to request permission to rebid this project for ship.
Rebid it for ship.
Yeah, she was awarded for ship. We bid it for ship, and we're having a tough time with contractors. But I've talked to 2 or 3 of them, and if we rebid it, they say they're going to do it. But whether they do or not, I don't know. But I do need permission to rebid this for ship, not HHRP.
Okay, all right, entertain a motion that we
I
rebid
would
it.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Commissioner
it.
McDaniel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McCrone. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public on this rebidding? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Item E on your list is award bid 1920-07 HHRP audit services. As you see in your notes, there was only one bidder for this project. That was the Florida Housing Coalition. The amount is $32,300, and that's through pages 5 through 7 in your packet shows you the bid tabulation sheet that just confirms that that's the amount that was bid. And I would like to recommend that the board approve this bid and award the contract to Florida Housing Coalition for the HHRP applications.
All right, I entertain a motion.
So moved.
All right, motion by Commissioner McDaniel. Second. Second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this?
Just one thing, and you
Yes,
might
sir.
want to explain, and I still think it's a cheap bid, but it went from 10 to 35. I'm assuming they're doing a few more than what we
Well,
originally.
originally, they were going to do 70 applications for 10,000 with the option to do the other ones free if they got more money.
Okay.
But,
But this is going to be all of them.
this is all of them. And in addition, the other requirements, because of the very first application snafu we had, they are going to verify that the person was actually a resident in Gulf County on 10/10/18. And, that's going to add some time to them to have to research and look that up and see if there's property in other counties that they've homesteaded and things like that. That's why it increased, because that's the first question I asked him. I said, you were going to do 70 of them for 10,000, and then now it's 32, and he said, Joe, it's going to require a lot of time. So, but I do request that you award this bid to Florida Housing. They're ready to go to work. We can start scanning them and sending them to them. And when they come back approved, and when I put them before the administrator or you, Mr. Chairman, to look at, we'll have some kind of certification from them also that we've done everything correct.
Okay, all right. Any,
That keeps y'all out of jail.
yes, sir, thank you for that. Any other questions from Mr. Paul? All right, anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Next is item F. This is site preparation for mobile home pads and utility location for HHRP. On page 8 and 9 of your packet, you have the bid and tabulation sheet. There were 2 bidders on this project. One of them was RB's Tractor and Hauling. He bid $500 per trailer for the 7 trailers that we have. And the other bidder was Hurd Regional Enterprises, and they bid $2,400 per pad. They actually, and I talked to them, they're in Flowood, Mississippi. They did not come here, they just did an aerial scan and looked at things and decided from there. But I do recommend that we award this to RB's Tractor Work and Hauling in the amount of $500 per bidder. That's actually within our budget, so we can still do it and stay under the $40,000 cap for the 1-bedroom mobile homes.
Okay, all right. I entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner McCrone.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this? All right. Anyone in the public? Anyone in the public on this? Any opposition to the motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Item G Ship applications for general contractors. We went out for bid for additional contractors like we had talked about. We had several contractors that had called us prior to this wanting to be on our bid list. We actually personally emailed all of them the requests and everything. We actually got only one back. That was from Chariot Construction LLC. He currently does some work in Liberty County and in Tallahassee. He's actually from Midway. He's also done some work in Calhoun County, but he has 4 crews, and he said he could put men to work on the job without any trouble. He does meet all of our requirements for insurance and everything. His application is complete, ready to go, and I recommend that you approve Chariot Construction LLC as an approved contractor for SHIP and HHRP.
All right, thank you, sir. All right, entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers,
Second.
second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any further board discussion on this? All right, any discussion? Anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Item H on your request is request for FEMA trailer purchase. It kind of piggybacks with what I'm going to talk about on item I also. When we went out for bids for very low income for districts 3 and 5, we received 1 application. And that is for Sarah Kemp, who is in District 3. She's currently living in Chris Blasham Way in one of the FEMA trailers up there in the park. And if you read a little bit there, she is disabled. The trailer that she is in is an 8x52 handicap trailer. Now, an 8-wide handicap trailer, to me, I don't know how much room you got to move or what you're doing, but it is handicap accessible. She has the opportunity to purchase that trailer. The initial price that they gave her was $34,704.29. We cannot get her a handicap accessible trailer, 1-bedroom trailer, for less than $60,000. By the rules that this board set, the most we can do is a $40,000 1-bedroom. It's going to require the board to give a special circumstance waiver to this applicant only for us to be able to purchase this trailer. Because the way it's initially set up, they get the 1-bedroom trailer that we bid. Those trailers are not handicap accessible.
If I could, Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I think it being handicapped, though, that gives us that exception to go outside the box, wouldn't you say, Michael? So,
Now that's on the 60,000, right?
yes.
You talking about, but from what I'm reading
No,
right here.
she's very low income, which means she gets a 4-bedroom trailer.
So what the price that I'm reading right here is for the purchase of the one that she's currently in, right?
Yes, the
That's what-
$34,704.
So we can do that, right? That's what,
But I was just thinking, though, if we had the money to benefit her, to put her in a regular trailer.
Okay.
That,
What would she rather do?
you know what I'm saying, Joe?
Actually, she wants to keep this trailer.
okay.
Her daughter works at Blue Water, and they're still trying to find her a piece of land, which the family's going to purchase for her. Under the FEMA rules, when she purchases this trailer, she's required to keep hazard and flood insurance regardless of the location of the trailer. I mean, the FEMA's got quite a few rules, and I've got a letter full of them here that they have to do. She also, once she purchases it, she has 30 days to move it, and that's all at her own expense. So the family's going to have to take care of that part of the expenses of getting it moved and that kind of stuff.
Boy, it just seems like to me it would benefit her down the road to go with that, you know, that 1-bedroom, handicap accessible, you know, mobile
Well,
home instead of.
She loves it. Like I
but-
said, it's an 8x52, so it's
Yeah.
longer. Ours are
Right.
13x40,
Yeah. So,
8 feet, huh?
8x52. That's what the contract look and see how far 8 feet is. It ain't very far.
Right here.
I think when I initially talked to Dr. Pat about it, she said that with a wheelchair or whatever, I don't know how she gets down the hallway. I think the bathroom, and I haven't seen the house, might be on the one end of the trailer so that it can be handicapped and get around that way. That's just a guess on my part, but this lady really needs it. Hopefully the family can find some land. They're looking diligently to find a piece of property to put it on. If they do, then I just need your permission. The family actually rejected this $34,000 bid, and they're waiting for FEMA to come back with an alternate. So it could be less.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes,
let
sir,
me-
go ahead.
I need to address Mr. Paul, please. How long, and she's out at,
She's at
Veterans Park.
Chris Blasham Wade, lot
yeah.
number 9.
all right. Is there a deadline of how long she can stay there?
If they don't extend the contract, 11 April 2020, the contract up there runs out.
So she's got from now till
Right.
April to make a decision.
Unless the
on that.
contract is extended, yes.
All right, is this lady, did you say Miss Kemp?
Yes, Sarah Kemp.
Is she aware of all these steps that's required, like the
Yes.
insurance?
Well, her
and-
family's aware of it, and they're looking after it for her.
All right, I don't want to get us off into something, then, we have to backtrack on this. But I'm fine if she wants a trailer, and for this price and all, I'm good. I just don't, I want to make sure everybody knows what base we're on. And Mr. Paul, what's your feeling on this now? Again, I just heard you, but again, are you satisfied?
Mr. McDaniel, let me tell you something. If it's helping somebody and getting them into the place that they're satisfied with, and when you talk about an elderly person, if you've got them happy where they are,
Yeah.
you sure don't want to move them.
I'm aware. All right. Thank you, Mr. Paul. I yield back, Mr.
Thank you,
Chairman.
Mr. Chairman.
Okay, oh, yes, sir.
And the only thing I was saying, Mr. Joe, the reason I said about trying to get her into a mobile home, I just think it would benefit her down the road. I'd be willing to go the extra money, in her situation, being handicapped. I think we could justify that going up on the money on this, in this one instance, That's the only reason I said, if she wants the mobile, the travel trailer, there's nothing,
Yeah, this is not a travel trailer. This is
Okay.
an 8x52 Zone 3 mobile home.
Okay. Well, okay.
That was my first question.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
no way this could be handicapped and be a travel
Right,
trailer.
right.
I mean, in my office, I've got all the paperwork where they delivered the trailer and everything, certifying what it is and everything.
But the one bedroom, I guess what I was trying to get in my mind, the one bedroom that we're selling is 13 foot wide, 13 by
13 by 40.
40. Okay, and this one's 8 foot by 52. Okay. Well,
You might need to ride out there today and we kind of put eyes on it so you can, because I want to see it myself. I just want to put out, because I'm like you too. I mean, we can put it in brand new, but then I understand what Mr. Paul's saying. You get an elderly person happy, then you don't want to move them.
If you move them into the one that you have agreed and we had low bidder, it's not going to be handicap accessible.
Okay, I got you. You want to add something, Stanley?
When I figure out what the wishes of the board are, then I'll
You add
ask
something,
you to
okay.
add something.
if she's happy with that.
Yeah, I'm
trailer,
fine. I have no objection to
I'll
the,
make
she
the
had
motion
some-
and we go with that.
Okay. She
Be
had
done
some-
with it. So,
All right, got a motion by Commissioner McCrone.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? Any opposition?
I got to add if we can now.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
If we could cap it at the amount that Mr. Paul spoke of and make it contingent upon meeting the FEMA regulations and them getting a piece of property in Gulf County to put this on. I don't think it matters to y'all where in Gulf County, but it would have to be in Gulf County and it would have to meet the FEMA regulations for that amount, and I think that would be a great exception.
I agree.
All right, we'll add that to the motion. All right, any opposition to the motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. My last item, again, is just talking about the HHRP applications. On page 11 in your packet, you'll see where we bid it. We advertised for new application star paper, and we only got the one bidder that we've just talked about. We are requesting directions from the board on how to proceed. We have re-advertised again and only received the one application. At some point, I don't believe it has to be today, but we need to consider the balance of the very low funding that are in District 3 and 5 and where we might want to allocate that in the future.
And we can come back, y'all think about it, and we can come back and ask you at the end of the month if that's good.
Nothing for today, but maybe the regular board meeting down the road, you can kind of give us direction
Okay.
on what to do.
All right. Any
All
more?
right, one last thing, Mr.
Yes, sir.
Chairman.
Go ahead. Yes, sir.
I do want to let you know that the Department of Veterans Affairs and the Secretary of Homeland Security has issued the National Terrorism Advisory System Bulletin based on the current lethal strike in Iraq, which took out their commander. All veteran service offices and veteran facilities have been asked to increase their security. I think our security's fine the way it is. They don't get in that door without passing through Julie, and she's pretty good about making sure where they're going and what they're doing. But I just want to let you know that we are all under a heightened awareness of what's going on and people that are coming in our office and just trying to be as safe and secure as we can. They're not saying things are going to happen, but they say there is a potential for foreign or domestic terrorist activities in response to this bombing in Iraq.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
Can I skip down to one administrative report, because I think they've got Port Authority meeting this morning.
Okay.
Just one item. On page, in your packet. Page 6. List of 11 items for the CDBG-R funding. That's the meeting that we should get into. We want to add to or take away. Gary or Chris won't say anything about this. We put in number 6, actually, number 9, matching funds for dredging. My thoughts, we didn't put any numbers by it, but we would add 20 from DOT again, and then we promised 10 from this pot and 5 from Triumph.
20.
Gary or Chris can speak to that.
Okay. All right. Mr. Gary, Mr. Holly, one of y'all want to come up and speak on it? Just state your name for the record, Mr. Gary.
Gary Madison, Port St. Joe, Florida. Mr. Chairman, Commissioners.
Thanks.
To me, the two most important projects in Gulf County for economic development is the dredging of the shipping channel and the repair of the railroad. We feel very comfortable in getting the money back in FDOT, the $20 million that was set aside a number of years ago. We also feel very confident of getting money from the Triumph Board, and with your help, I think we can get the channel dredged. I got confirmation this morning that the Army Corps of Engineers is looking at extending our permits for another 5 years. And I think that will happen within the next week. So we appreciate your support and hope that y'all will continue to lend it.
Thank you,
Thank you,
sir.
sir.
And
Yes, sir.
just one more thing, are you good with the 35 number? I mean,
Yes.
it is floated, but I think that would be close.
We've looked at different things. We're permitted to go 35 plus 2 feet outside the point, 35 plus 1 inside. We've looked at different options of doing it in stages, where we might only go to 33 plus 2, and then later down the road procure additional dollars to go down to the full depth. So I think the 35 will get us to the point where 85% of all ships could get in here.
Good. Okay.
Any other questions?
Any questions, Mr. Matson? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it. Yes, sir.
At this point, and we can elaborate on any of these that we need to, or y'all can add or take away, but but I'm ready to transmit these to our consultant if y'all are good with these numbers. These priorities, excuse me.
Yes, sir. I'm fine with them.
And again, these are not in any particular order. I would think that immediately, the match for the hazard mitigation project, since we've already got that 23 million set aside, would probably be number one. But, again, hopefully this money's gonna start flowing in the next couple months. And, we wanna have our ducks in a row. This will be our first list, but it's something that needs to be done.
Michael, the one thing I'd like to see on there, I see it is, purchase of, for beach access property. We talked about at the Cape or Indian Pass. So, yeah.
Yeah. Public access.
Yep.
What about, well, I'm glad Mr. McCrone brought that up, but now that just made me think about something about, what about property? I don't know if we can put this on. What about purchasing property for affordable homes for people?
There is a housing element to this, but I don't know specifically about purchasing property for that. I mean, I would think that it would have to be in a land trust. They're not gonna let us purchase property and then give it to folks.
Right.
I mean, and we have discussed a land trust with other programs before. I don't know that I want to bite that off, but if that's what the board wants to do, we'll certainly research it.
Just to piggyback what the Chairman said on that, and I'm glad we're going down this road because I'm hearing more and more every day that, $300,000 homes are not affordable.
That's right.
$250,000 homes are not affordable.
That's right.
A young couple starting out cannot afford. And the latest thing I'm hearing is, the cheapest rent somebody's finding, especially on the south end, is $1,500 a month. A young couple cannot afford that. And, we can stick our head in the sand and say that it's going to get better. It's not getting better. The prices are getting higher and higher. And I don't fault anybody for wanting to make money, but developers are only interested in making money off these houses. They're not interested in lowering the price and making it affordable for people. Until we step up and we do something, it's not going to get done, folks. We've talked about we want affordable housing, we want workforce housing. We're no further down the road than we were. Yeah, I'd like to see at this point, Mr. Chairman, if we could, to get Mr. Yeager or Mr. Hammond to meet with St. Joe Company, whoever, and let's see if we can identify some property that we could, we've got to do something. I hear people every day telling me that we can't afford to live here. And the price of rent is getting higher and higher, even on the north end. People just can't afford it. And we're going to get to the point, we don't have enough contractors now. You can see that in the SHIP program. We don't have enough contractors. We don't have enough workforce now to meet the demand. But yet, we're still going down this road where I'm seeing wood frame houses, when I was a little boy in Port St. Joe, shotgun houses going for $300,000 and $400,000. Now, if I'm wrong, you tell me. And that's the truth. But we've got to change our focus and do something different. So,
Yeah, appreciate it.
And we will have, potentially, we don't know when we're going to get it, more housing money. And we tried to direct more of this to the $60,000 down payment or whatever for the moderate workforce.
But Michael, here's the problem. We focus that money on for people to use, but what are they going to buy?
That's right.
Huh?
Or build.
We're going to tell you can have $60,000, but that young couple cannot afford a payment on a $250,000, $300,000 home. They can't afford it. And if you think it's getting better, it's not. I'm hearing people that on the north end, Commissioner, you know what I'm talking about. The rent's going higher and higher on the north end. We've got to stop now, and I'm not against developers making money, but everybody don't want to live in an RV. I'm going to be honest with you. So we've got to stop now and re-examine what we're doing, and I'd love to see you and Mr. Yeager set up a meeting with St. Joe, whoever, Desiree. If there's some property we can identify that we could get the process going, we need to do it.
And are you thinking like a Bridgeport style? That was very
Absolutely.
successful.
I mean, $150,000, $200,000
But the cap
home.
went away, so I mean, that's.
Absolutely. I'm 100% on board with that. We've got to give these young couples, this workforce a place to live. They don't have it, guys.
Mr. Chairman, let
Yes,
me
sir. Go ahead.
echo
Yes, sir.
on that, please. Over the holidays, I had a young couple from Port St. Joe to come up, cleaning service and do some cleaning for me, and they were just exactly what Commissioner McCrone said. They said, we can't afford, they're in private business now. They clean carpet and things like that. I said, well, how many children? They said, we don't have any children. We're living in a little old one bed RV. We can't afford $1,200 and $1,500 per month, rent. I said, well, I don't know. I'll look around for you, and I got their name and everything, but that's the same case. They're young, they don't have any children, but they can't afford. And you take on a $300,000 house, I don't know what the payment would be, the monthly payment, and then you factor in the insurance there and all other things. My goodness. I don't think any of us here could afford it. We do. We need to get something. I notice over in Bay County, they building housing units all over in there. And I don't know what the price are, but we've got to get something. If not, we got a census coming up this year, and if we don't do something in 2030, we may not be increased very much on our census. If we don't get a way for people to come in here to Gulf County and make it affordable. The school system, there's no way you can bring a teacher in here, even with both of them in the school system, to afford that, or over here with our sheriff, law enforcement, or with the corrections, any of it. They can't afford it. Terrible. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Let me say one thing,
Yes, go ahead.
Mr. Chairman. And something that the people I talk to, we don't need any more low income. And I'm not against the people that can qualify for that, but Gateway is not full. And the people I talk to do not qualify to be in Gateway. Even with both working, they make too much money to qualify for that type of housing. And we need workforce housing. But, if we need to right now put this on this list to, purchase property for that, I'd love to see it on the top of the list, because I think that's one of our critical needs, so.
Yeah, just to add on to that, I mean, every time I go to Panama City, and I don't know, I do know what the prices are, because I go to Dunkin' Donuts and I swing by there in the back there, but they got homes for sale in the high 100,000s, and that's way cheaper than 300,000. But I agree, we got to, if we can purchase some property or something and get with a developer to try to get some kind of something built for some people that they can afford, because like I say, I'm pretty sure now people just, if they can find a 2-bedroom home in the 100,000, they'll probably jump on it. But like I say, it's so expensive. But we need to do something, because I mean, all the people I don't see people moving in, and if that, who can't. I mean, like I say, we as a matter of fact, the school system trying to hire a new coach now, and he having a hard time trying to find a home. And I doubt a coach can come in, and him and his wife, and they both work, can come in and just all of a sudden spend $300,000 on a brand new home. I mean, that's they starting in the hole already. So I think we need to try to help as much as possible. Put something on here if we can.
I will ask our consultant. I just don't think this program is going to do what we want to do. This program will do low-income housing. This will do multifamily, Pine Ridge style, what we do not want, what I don't think this board won't. I certainly don't want. But to help the working class, middle class, workforce housing needs, I don't think this is going to work, because it's going to require government ownership or some housing authority ownership. But we have other programs coming down the pike that I hope that we can streamline to buy that price down, again, especially if we had I don't know if Deseret can sell their property. I think they've got some restrictions, but St. Joe still has a good deal of property around between the St. Joe and White City specifically, and behind, maybe around Highland View. If we could do a Bridgeport type development that had a 10-year requirement, they couldn't sell it and all that kind of stuff. If we can structure that with a public-private partnership, I'm 1,000,000% for that.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I've got a subdivision over in my district that, I think Zach owns, and you and I have talked about it. And I thought after the hurricane that, when people got displaced here, they would move up there. He's got, I think you can buy a lot for $10,000 for water and sewer in the city. You can't get no more affordable than that. So y'all might wanna go down the government path, but private enterprise is still out there and it's working. And I thought that subdivision would fill up and it didn't, and it hadn't, and I don't understand why. Because you can go buy, if you're gonna buy a $75,000 trailer, $10,000 lot, you in it for under 100. What's more affordable than that? Starting out. And I know you're talking about young people starting out. You didn't start out in the house you live in now, you know? So you gotta have a starter kit. You gotta take baby steps. But there's still affordable living in the north end of the county, and we live in city limits with water and sewer. So don't lose sight of just, it's gotta be a stick-built house, or it's gotta be something else. And there is some houses in there, and they can be built. So it depends on where you wanna be at, as for what you can afford. So just keep that in mind.
And maybe we can have a workshop. What stunned me, there's nothing affordable on the south end. And what stunned me, somebody that participated in the program that we just, one of the first ones we closed, maybe the second one we closed, was in White City. And it was a mobile home, and it was an astronomically high price. It was on Mr. Rogers' Road. Twice what it would have been 2 years ago, in my opinion. And they, I think they qualified for it was a school teacher, I won't say the name, but it was a school teacher, and they qualified for a $50,000 buy down. It was a low, not very low, but a low deal. So yes, that is a great subdivision, and I can't imagine why he bought it out of bankruptcy cheap and was able to put those lots on the market cheap. But Howard's Creek, White City, Overstreet South there's nothing affordable. There's nothing affordable to rent, and there's nothing affordable to buy. So we probably need to advertise that better, and maybe he needs to advertise that better. But I like I don't know that the county wants to get in the business, but I like the public-private partnership. I like something like St. Joe did with Bridgeport. If you can make sure they don't rent it for 10 years and don't sell it for 10 years and can't make a profit on it, but it allows a school teacher, law enforcement officer, first responder, EMT.
I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But let's move forward. We keep talking about it, that, you know, I wish you were warned to go get with St. Joe before our next meeting, and let's identify something. And I know what David's saying, you know, there is some, you know, but everybody don't want to live there. You know,
That's right.
Some people want to live on the south end. And we've got to have a workforce down here too, you know, but let's, if we can, let's move forward and identify that instead of just keep talking about it. I feel like we're all for affordable housing and for workforce, but we've got to make a move and move forward with it. And I'm not at all opposed to that partnership you're talking about, you know, like with Bridgeport deal. That was, you know. But.
Okay, we'll try to set up something and come up with some alternatives.
I did want to mention last night, I got an email from Frank Wells, and I think that Gary Madison, of course, Gary's gone now, has been in contact with this particular group too. They're basically a manufacturer, but it's a modular home manufacturer. They want to build a factory here in Gulf County. He is actually CEO of a regional housing trust. He's going to hold a meeting next Monday at the college. He asked me to be there, and I'll be there and see what kind of programs that they have going forward for other areas and that type of thing. We're interested in them coming here, building their factory and creating jobs, but it may be something too that we can talk to them a little bit about. How is Central Florida dealing with workforce housing and those type of things? So I'll be at that meeting next Monday, and we'll see if something can come from that also.
Okay, thanks. All right, Mr. Rogers.
Back on affordable housing and all, there's a lot of people, I think there's some, like Commissioner Rich said, some lots. One of the things is getting the people that are looking for it in contact with the places where it's at. I know where my wife works, there's a lot of those people that are looking for housing. One of them moved to Calhoun County because they couldn't find anything here, Of course, 3 days after they signed the contract, they found a place that they could afford here. And I guess that's what I'm getting at is, maybe that getting the public a little better information on what is available and what they can do may help some of the situations. Everything in White City as far as property-wise, it's selling out. I mean, you can't find a lot to buy to build on, much less a house to buy. So,
Thank you, sir. You got anything else, Mr. Hammond?
If y'all could approve this list, and we'll send it to our consultant, and Warren and I'll follow up with St. Joe, and again, look at some of the other programs that are coming down the pike for this, whether it's a land trust, whether it is a public-private partnership, to help economic development.
So moved to approve.
All right, motion by Commissioner McDaniel,
Second.
second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public on this? Items on the list? All right, yes, ma'am, Doctor? Dr. Hartman, come on up, state your name and who you represent for the record, please.
Pat Hardman, 123 Mariner Lane, a little bit taller than some people. The most critical problem that we have is lack of housing, period. Everything else, everything you can talk about comes back to it. We can't get teachers, we can't get a football coach, we can't get a plumber, we can't get, and we don't have housing, and it's not affordable. It was high to begin with. Don't blame the contractors. Most of the contractors I know have the same margin that they had before the storm. That's what we do. We have not changed our margin in technically about 6 years. But your tariffs have run up the cost of materials. We've got no labor force. Why do we have no labor force? They have nowhere to live. It goes around and around in a circle. So you have to pay twice as much to have a framer come out of Tallahassee. You usually paid $6, $8 an hour max on these big houses. Now you're paying $14 and $15. That's for framing. So it's not stick-built. We need to look at other options. Frank Wells is talking about bringing and he came early on, a land trust like they have down in South Florida. He's already doing it. And using not modulars, but container. And don't go, they're beautiful. And they're basically hurricane-proof. So there's ways that we can get things, and not everybody, and his concept was to do low, medium, and margins. So you add a neighborhood of mixed incomes. So you could move around in it and therefore work. But that's a good starting place. There may be others. Stick-built, I'm a contractor. I'm telling you, stick-built is not the only way to go and might not be the best way to go. The other thing is that we need rental in homes. We need rental not just for the low income. We need rental for the working forces. So that not everybody can buy. I guarantee you, even when y'all are giving these folks $60,000, and even if they can find a $200,000 home, they might not be able to qualify for the loan. Not because they're bad risk, but because they're right up to their margin. They got 2 incomes coming in, but they got 2 cars, and they got insurances and what have you. So they need rental too. So you really need a comprehensive plan. And please look at all the options out there, but let's start moving on how do we get some housing in here. The programs that we've got here, I think are starting to move, and the volunteer groups are starting to move on our low and very low income. And as long as we can get enough money in those pots, you can go. And I'll tell you the reason you're not getting bids on your SHIP programs. We've looked at them over and over. There's no need for me to bid when I can't do the job and pay for it myself, much less make anything. You've got too low a margin. So that's why you're not getting bids. But you can do something with this thing. Y'all got the power, you got the money. Please go work on it. Thank you.
All right, thank
Know what
you.
you're trying to do.
Thank you,
And I'd suggest we have a workshop potentially before or after the next meeting or sometime to talk about it. But it's again, Pat's 100% right about everything she just said. The problem is, if you're not living in a communistic society, which it'd be easier in this particular case, if you have a home that is rentable, 20 years ago, they didn't have VRBO, and you wasn't renting houses for vacationers on Woodward Avenue and on Garrison Avenue. There are VRBOs all over the south end of the county. When you're paying $5,000 and $6,000 and $7,000 and $8,000 a week to be at the Cape Sandblast, and you can rent for $1,000 a week in Port St. Joe, that's what's happening. So all the rental income got eaten up either by people who lost their homes, that got insurance money and come and bought those little range houses, or people that can make more money than, I mean, you're gonna rent for $1,000 a week, you're gonna rent for $1,000 a month. And that's the problem we have. So if we don't have it in a land trust, or we don't have it in a situation like Bridgeport or whatnot, where it's restricted, if we built 500 houses in the next 2 years, they're gonna be rental houses, because that's where the market is. I mean, that's where the draw is. And it's not rental just for 4 months anymore, it's rental for about 9 or 10 months. So, anyway, there are a lot of things to look at. I don't know that we want to be in the housing authority, but a public-private partnership or some type of restricted subdivision that includes stick-built modulars and potentially other things, maybe we can have a workshop.
And I'm 100% for that, Michael,
Okay.
you know, so.
All right, anybody else? All right, come on up to the podium, state your name and who you represent for the record, please.
Hi, Cassie Studstill, Fort St. Joe.
Yes, ma'am.
This was maybe about 8 months ago. I think Pat and I stood up here and requested a letter from you all for an application for a RUDAT with the American Institute of Architects. And I wrote a 50-page application grant, and it went absolutely nowhere. And I'm asking you all who I can speak to revive this, and to submit a grant application to focus specifically on this. I mean, it can be tweaked and modified, and ask experts to come in and help solve this problem. So, just like to raise that again, and ask if I can speak to somebody to relook at that, and having the county adopt it and meet the needs of the people in the community.
Ms. Studstill, did we not get you a letter?
I'm sorry?
Did we get you a letter from
You
the?
did get us a letter,
Okay.
but it's got to go forward through the county, the city, some entity has got to adopt it and move forward with this and request that they come in. And they've asked to charge nothing for it. So,
Okay.
can we revisit that?
Yeah, let's get with St. Joe Company, and then we'll look at it also. Yeah, we will. Thank you, ma'am. All right, well. We can go back to the regular. Okay. All right, well, we up on you, garbage.
He just stepped out.
He had a phone call, I saw him, he's right out there.
You gonna talk? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Let's
we
come
on
back
the
over here.
garbage. You was gonna call, Jason up?
Jason just stepped out.
He's right there.
If you step, we can skip down and do
Said he
it.
is.
All right, we'll,
We do scrap and Scott, and
Okay.
let Clay give you an update on where we are on that.
Good morning.
morning, sir.
Few scrap projects going on. Give you an update on those. They're all in little different stages. County Road 382, Industrial Road, the construction began on that the end of last year.
Hold on
Yes.
1 second, Mr. Smallwood. I never did carry that motion through there.
Yeah,
We got to carry, hold on a second.
with the motion to adopt,
Yeah.
we didn't
No,
carry that
we
motion,
didn't. Hold
did
on
we?
1 second. So, all right, anyone else in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? The motion about the list, I forgot to carry it through. All right, any opposition? All right, motion passes 5-0. I'm sorry about that, Mr. Small.
Oh,
Go ahead,
you're
Mr.
good,
Smallwood.
you're good. The Industrial Road construction began last year. Y'all saw that in the fall, and it's been stopped. We've been waiting on the Army Corps permit. That permit was submitted in June of last year, and we're still waiting on that permit. As soon as it's received, contractor's ready to get going and finish, and he will. but that project is going as far as it can until we receive that permit. So that's why that one stopped.
And explain to them how much longer that has taken than normal.
Normally that would have been in the 12 years I've been doing it, a 60, 90-day process at the longest. Obviously, we're in month 8 or whatever it is, 8 or 9 now since it's been submitted. And I can't explain that. I don't know why, but that's where the holdup is. So we maintain continual contact with them, but they just tell us that they hadn't worked on it yet, is the answer we've been getting, which is very frustrating.
So I'm gonna go meet with them and see if we can shake something loose.
387, well, let's go 386. Overstreet Road, the one we've been waiting on, anticipating. We're going to finish that design this month, get it on the street, get it to the contractors to receive bids so that construction can begin this year and move forward. I know that one's been a long time coming, and we're looking forward to getting that one wrapped up. 387, Dock Whitfield, the survey is complete. Probably 95% of the geotech work we need on that road is complete. So we're full bore in design on it. I'd expect May, June timeframe. We'll have that wrapped up and ready to advertise for construction. So very early summer, we'll get that one advertised. The other two that will be coming up later this year, Pleasant Rest Road and Pineda Street at St. Joe Beach. County recently received those grant agreements from DOT. So those are in the very beginning stages. We really haven't started on those, but we'll soon and get those going. Pineda Street is design and construction money. Pleasant Rest, the construction money is actually programmed for 2022. So we'll get the design knocked out, and then it'll be 2022 when DOT funds the construction of that. So it'll be a couple years out on that one. Those were the SCOP and SCRAP. Two others, your boating improvement grants, the White City Boat Ramp and the Odina Ramp, the improvements to those. We're going to get those advertised to the paper so that we receive them in your February meeting and open those bids then, so those two can move forward. And then just a brief one on the eastern job, on the eastern warehouse. It should finish completion on the warehouse beginning of February, and then they will roll right into the electrical buildings, the construction of electrical buildings that you approved, I think, in December at your last meeting there. So that project's still moving forward, and a lot of things to actually see out there now. Everything before was put under the ground, and now you actually can see the improvement. So those were the updates I had.
Clay, give them the update on Highland U-Boat Ramp.
Oh, yeah, thank you. Highland U-Boat Ramp, the electrician so that project has been awarded. That's the one that DEP is managing the grant on your behalf. H.G. Harders is the contractor. We had a pre-construction meeting in December, and the first thing they're going to do is have an electrician. They've got to do some rerouting electrical line. He's going to be on site this month doing that, and then next month, the sheet piles and a lot of the mobilization will occur, so you'll see that in February. It's a 180-day contract that started in December, so should start to see some real movement on that in the next 30, 45 days.
When we get that project done, we need to invite the governor down and explain to him how horrible an early restoration project can go. That is a project that has been 8 years in the making, and a project that, how much is this project costing?
It's 700-something thousand.
It started out at 3, now it's 7, and it's 8 years to do a project that we could have done in 6 months.
That's right. Go ahead.
And the original boat ramp was put in for less than 50,000?
That's right.
All right. That's it.
Hold up,
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Clay, I know with 382 with the Corps, that's government, slow. But on this 386, I represent now with the redistricting, that entire road's in the district I represent.
Yes, sir.
And people keep asking me, and they say, well, we beginning to doubt your word. I said, don't do that. Now, I'm telling you, it's coming. But please, push hard on that 386. Push hard on it.
Yes,
we
sir.
need it. And as far as the Pleasant Rest, now, is that just a main road going in, or will it involve the side street?
Just the main road.
The main road will go
to the
all
end
the
of
way
the
down to
pavement.
the cemetery, okay?
Not all the way to the cemetery, but to where the main road, the pavement ends.
Where the
So
pavement
it's not
is.
going to turn left and go to the
To the cemetery, I knew
Yes, sir.
that. Okay. All right, but please, stay heavy on this 386. It's a very heavily traveled road in the summertime. You know where I live right there, and and the weekends I'll sit out there, and there's all kind of traffic going down that road.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Smallwood.
Thank y'all.
All right, back up to item J, garbage.
I think Mr. Tennell is here, yeah.
Okay.
And y'all chewed me, so now y'all chew him, please.
Yeah. State your name, who you represent for the record, please.
Jason Tennell, BCC Waste Solutions. Good morning, Mr.
Morning,
Chairman,
sir.
Commissioners.
I think some of y'all want to talk about bear cans and bear-proof doings, and then some of y'all want to talk about some quality control stuff and maybe even landfill hours, so.
Oh, yeah, I'll start off, yeah, that's fine with me. So, Jason, I guess, man, we're back at it again, but just trying to get some understanding on where we're at with, I've had several calls about bear cans, and, they'll call your office, and, one person will tell them, oh, we got bear cans, in stock, we'll send you one, give us your address, and never gets delivered, call back, and no, we don't have bear cans. Don't know when we're gonna get bear cans. We just need to get an understanding where we're at with this, and that's one issue. I've got some people in the audience this morning that garbage didn't get picked up last night, and they also been paying for back door. I think back door's in our contract. Is that right, Michael? And that's just some of the issues I'm running into. I had Miss Summers call over 3 different times to your office. 3 different people told her 3 different things. We got to get this under control. It's just not working. So anyway.
You go ahead. You want to respond?
Well, I'm not sure where to go. We start with the bear cans. I know there was some confusion in the office about the bear cans because depending on who they talk to, if they're not familiar with the bear cans and they didn't know, you did get some different answers. But I think all that's been ironed out now, and it's pretty clear. There's 2 different kinds of bear cans. There's the ones with the plunger on it that we have to order in, that we do not have any of those in stock right now because we were just using the hasps. After working with, talking to the FWC guys, they said, obviously nothing's gonna make them 100% bear-proof, but the hasps are a lot cheaper than paying $150 for the bear can. But there is that option if somebody wants to do it, because it is in the contract.
Yeah, I've got some people that want those better bear cans, but tell us this morning, when can you get the bear cans? That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
I have people sending me emails, and, they'll call your office, and we don't know when we're gonna get bear cans. What can you tell me?
I can place an order for bear cans today. We will get bear cans in stock with the plunger.
How long, if you order a bear can, how long?
I don't know. I can't tell you that exactly right now without talking to the vendor.
Okay.
But we can have bear cans in stock.
6 months, a month?
No.
Okay.
The last time I ordered them, it was 45 days, I think.
Do you have to have several orders, or?
You can order 25, 50 at a time. I can order small amounts. The first round, I only ordered 25 of them because we didn't have any of that indicated on, the information that we got, who had a bear can and who didn't, and what type and all that. So.
Can you order 5 or 10 bear cans to keep on hand in case somebody calls?
I can.
To me, that'd be the most logical thing to do is,
Yeah. Done.
Okay.
So if I got a regular can, if I wanted a bear-proof can, what's the extra price for the customer?
$8 a month.
Extra $8.
For the hasp, to service it, it's $8 a month. I don't know what the contract says about the plunging type. I think it's.
One's 10, one's 12. The resistance 10 and the bear-proof is 12.
But there's a purchase price, a one-time purchase price for the plunger style.
And the problem wasn't the price. People didn't mind paying you know, for the cans. They just, you know, your staff just basically didn't have a clue when, you know, what was going on. You know, we just got to get an understanding where we're at with, you know, so.
Yeah, well, here's my one issue, and it's just, I only had one so far. So I got a constituent says that they put something on the trash can themselves to keep the bears out. Okay, so they get a phone call telling them that they have to remove that item off the can. Well, my constituent tells me that she would, every morning when they pick the trash up on that Monday morning, she would unlock the can so that the machine can grab it. Well, she said she got a phone call telling her that if she doesn't remove that item off the can, that her service will be dropped, and she had to 3 o'clock to make that decision. And so I don't know who made that phone call
Yeah,
to.
I don't know either. I'm not aware of that at all. I am aware of the fact that if there's a bare contraption on the can, that every customer will be charged that fee, whether they put it on or we put it on, because that requires that they're paying for the service, not for the contraption, if you will, for us to get out of the truck and go unlock it and dump it. So that I know for sure. I don't know about that phone call.
Okay. All right. Mr. Rich?
Well, good morning. The only concerns that I've had, messages and calls, and if you really want to know how people feel, get on Facebook. You know, they'll really tell you. But is billing. One guy orders 2 cans, got billed for 1. They were only picking up 1. He didn't understand. So I put him in touch with Mike Cox. Great guy to talk to on the phone. He's a problem solver. And sounds like to me, he needs to solve these other problems for these guys. I guess my suggestion today is take what all we tell you and write it down and put a Q&A or a questions and answer or frequently asked questions and put it in your next bill or do a mail out to your customers if they'll take time to read it and educate them, you know. I can't believe so many people get mad about yesterday's garbage, but when it's all in your yard up and down the road, then it's serious when you got to pick it up. But anyway, I think Mike's doing you a good job. I think he can help you out, solve some of these problems, but we just got to funnel them all to him. So.
Thanks. That's a great idea, putting the frequently asked questions.
I'm not here to run you down.
Yeah.
I'll do that to him and he'll do it to you, but I'm here to try to help you solve the problems.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, thank you. Good morning. Jason, I'll try to give you a little positive side and all. First of all, I had very little since BCC has taken over in the district I represent, and Commissioner Rich and I, sometimes he takes care of issues in my district, I take care of issues in his district. That's just the way we all work. But here over the holidays, I got a rash of calls. Now, I understand you have to use common sense. Christmas Day to me is the same as Christmas Day to your workers. They're entitled to that, and sometimes you have to bump. And I know we were a day late on some, but that's understandable. That's understandable. Main thing, your trucks, from what we were to what we are now, I want to say we got great trucks. I don't see garbage or fluids strung up and down the highways. I don't see hydraulic fluid scattered everywhere. I don't see that. But one of the things that I want you to, and you need to address this, on your billing, because you service me, please have your billing staff, they need to put a return envelope, because I have to go out, buy envelopes, and I got to sit down there and look at the address and address an envelope, and I might get the zip code number wrong, and that might help you on your collections. Where everybody else, I get a MasterCard bill, I just simply tear the thing off, put it in their return, put a stamp on it, and send it. But I'm hearing that, and they say, hey, they don't have a return envelope where you simply tear the bill off, stick it in, and, you know, here it goes. You need to look at that. That might help you with some of your collections for people? Just food for thought. That's handled with your billing department. And I don't know what an envelope would cost, and I'm sure it couldn't be that much, but to just stick an envelope in there that would be compatible to the portion of the bill you tear off and send back. But other than that, you know, if you say, well, I don't understand, they'll come down the street, all the cans are out. Don't believe everything you hear all the time. Sometimes people don't put the cans out. The truck comes by and the can's not out. But if they say it was out there, you gotta say it was there. But they'll say they picked that can up and that can, they skipped me and got that one and that one. And what's going on? So I call Mike. I tell him, I said, look, you need to, they missed so-and-so. Well, they'll call me back. So they come and got it. So if all them cans are strung out down the road there, if somebody's not paying, if at least pick the cans up, get them off of there, and then we can get the money and tell them, hey, you got to pay this bill. I had one call me, said, I'm upset, said, I called, I don't know who he called, I guess it'd be a number off the bill. I didn't get billed. I didn't get billed, and then they sent me a bill for $175 to catch up all the back. They'd missed about 3 months, not getting billed. He said, well, I paid it, but, you know, I'd like to get my bill every, 3 months? Isn't that what we set up on, 3 months deal? Anyway, so he had to go back and pick up some, I guess, since it, I don't know, anyway, whatever, he said $170-something. But other than that, the trucks, that was one of my big issues, the truck, but you've got good trucks, you got good equipment, and that's a plus for me. Well, I used to catch it all the time. That's all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Mr. Rogers?
Sounds like a lot of this is communications between
Exactly.
whom and whomever. That's just like with your trash collection, where they're picking up the yard debris, the guy's getting better. You know, a lot of it's a learning curve, and learning curve on both sides. So, you know, I know it's been rough on you, but we're getting better. Listen to the complaints. You know, I promise you, in the garbage business, they're never, ever going to stop. It's always going to be complaints.
Now, Jason, let me say this, and we're a lot further down the road when, I'm not even going to mention the name of the old one, but, man, it was never ending. I'll be the first, and you know, I've got BCC in the city, and y'all have been first class with me. I mean, my service has been great, you know, but, and like Commissioner Rogers said, I think communication is the biggest thing. We just need to, you know, figure out, you know, what we're doing with the phone calls and who's saying what, but I mean, as far as my services, you know, and I've had some other people tell me that y'all hadn't missed a lick with them. So it is better. You know, we just need to get some of these other things figured out. So.
All right, and Jason, just to add on to that, I've been to the landfill a couple times, and your landfill, the people out there have been, you got some good people out there. I've been out there to dump I've been out a few times, and they always show me where I need to be at. I'll even helped every now and then, but every time I come back on the scale, first class people you got working there. So I commend you on the people that you got inside. I know sometimes that the hours don't work. Sometimes some people complain about the hours, but you got some good folks in there. So just wanted to commend you on that.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
They were a lot nicer to you than they are to me when they call and complain.
Thanks for being the buffer.
And I do want to say, it is 100 times better than it was. I hadn't had the first call of a leaking truck. I hadn't had the first call of a truck broke down on the side of the road, and, you know, all the problems that we were having before. But I do think it's some quality control stuff, especially on the billing. And if you're going to screw up on anybody, I guess screw up on me. But if it hadn't been for Kerry, I'd have probably called and cussed or something. I don't know what. But, you know, I didn't get a can because it wasn't on the list because I was on a P.O. box or something to start with. You took care of that. I've never missed a service, but I got a nasty gram a couple times, and I had paid, I think I paid through the end of this year, but I had paid them and paid them and paid them, and it was being misapplied, and we're hearing a lot about that. And I'm gonna use his name because I don't think he'll care, because his wife caught me, and then he caught me pretty good. But, Mr. King on the, Overstreet Road, again, y'all gave him 2 cans. Somebody didn't figure out how to bill them. They were on credit card billing, and they pick up 1 can and went another. And that happened a couple of times, and I got chewed pretty good, from wife and husband. And again, it's your can. It isn't like they've got a can from Walmart. If they're not paying, y'all need to bill them. If it's out there, they need to pick it up. And I think that's the communication part. Some of the folks that aren't being picked up aren't paying. But they got a can, so either one of 2 things, either they're delinquent or they're screwed up in the address or whatnot. And again, the last bill I got after 3 or 4 go-arounds still had the wrong address on it. And it's just minor stuff, but again, if I've got 2 or BCC cans, whatever it is, the slight Freudian slip, either you need to pick that can up if I'm only paying for 1, or we need to get the billing straight. And I think that's most of the problem. Now, again, I want to give you kudos, because when Waste Pro tore down that transfer station, it put you in a bad hole. Now, Mark's done a lot of helping on the side to try to make that straight, a lot on our side. But it should go a lot smoother once we get the transfer station open, and I'm hoping by April that we're going to have that thing going. They finally got the footers poured. But then when we ramp up toward us picking up limb debris in the county, we will need to do some good PR stuff, meaning put it in that bill beforehand that we're going to start picking up limb debris on X date, whatever that is, when that transfer station comes open, and your bill's going to change. And this is how it needs to be, where we don't have that growing pain going forward, if we can work on that. The other thing is, and again, I understand it now, we're going to need to be open 6 days a week when we get that transfer station open. It's imperative that we be open on Saturdays. And again, Waste Pro was doing things that we didn't necessarily like, but for the working person, they've got to have Saturday to use that. So when you have an operating transfer station, we need that open on Saturdays, even if you have to close a day in the week. And when the county run it, we closed a day in the week when we transfer it off, but we still were open on Saturdays, because that's what. And I think there's still a lot of activity all the time out there, so it ought not be a losing proposition for you. I think that's the main thing. Again, when they get the right person, Mike has been good, the different one. Carrie just emails you, and every time she emails you, it gets taken care of. It's not but again, when we're calling Alabama, sometimes the people don't get the right answer, and sometimes they get a different answer. And every time they get a different answer, one of them guys or me gonna get a call, and that puts me in a bad mood sometimes, so.
Jason, can you
Carrie figures it out.
Get with Ms. Summers about the bear cans. Who does she need to? I don't want to have to email you every time. You got,
And that other confusion, if we could, on that, just simply because we've had people tell them that they've got to unlock that can or they won't pick the garbage up. And that's not what our contract says. I don't think that's what you intended, but there's some miscommunication on, I'm paying for the service, just like the backdoor service or whatever these other things is. If I'm paying for that bear can service, if I go to bed at midnight and I leave that can unlocked, there's no need in having the can, because that bear's smarter than the average bear, and he's gonna come get my garbage in that 6 or 8 hour period. And they're picking it up pretty early in a lot of these areas, which is fine, but there's no way no need to have a bear can if you gotta unlock it the night before the garbage man. So if we can get that passed out, that, no, you're paying for the service, you gotta get out and unlock the can, that type of stuff. Does that help some?
Yeah, I was just thinking about if he could get with Carrie on one person that knows about these bear cans, that we ain't got to call 3 or 4 different people, and because
I think that frequently asked questions idea is we put that in the next bill, and I think that's going to solve a lot of this if they read it.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. They're going to call us, and some of them ain't going to read it and call us. But if I pick up the phone and I call Carrie and say, hey, will you call B? If she knows who to call, it solves a lot of problems. So.
Mr. Chairman, one other thing,
Okay.
Jason, and I forgot to mention a while ago, but we've had a little setback out here at 5 Point. But once we get there and you get someone in there, and as I mentioned when we were going through the contract, I would like, or this board would like to see someone out there, if we had a complaint, you know, Gulf County, if you have a complaint, you call this number and we have somebody out there that knows where Howard's Creek is and knows where Jones Homestead is. Before we'd call Panama City Beach, they changed employees every 2 weeks over there and they didn't even know where Gulf County was, some of them. But that'll be a good help. How long have we been with you now?
Since June.
June, all right, so we're making progress all along. We've got this thing down and we'll get it tuned up. Don't forget my envelope now.
You know, we can go paperless, and you don't even have to mail a check.
I'm old school, I like a paper trail.
That's ultimately the direction we like to go.
That's for the younger generation, you know, you got to send them an envelope. Jason, just one quick question. When does the city limb debris pickup start? When?
The city?
Yeah. When
We're doing it now.
you are doing it, okay.
How about what's your plan on the county?
Anytime, the way we've got it set up with the county is, there's certain folks that want it, certain folks that don't. So we're incorporating the ones that are utilizing that service with the city route when we do the city limb pickup. So we are doing the county now. We're not doing every single home because every single home doesn't want it.
What do the people need to call your office and set that up, or what?
They do.
Okay.
And that's what's been happening.
Okay.
You got some limbs, you just call your office and, what's the price on that? It's a charge? Oh, you ain't got the check.
I don't have it in front of
It
me.
is a
Yeah,
check.
it's $5 or $6 a month addition for the limb debris pickup.
Okay,
$4.
okay.
Once a month.
Right.
All right.
That's
Mr.
per
Chairman.
month.
Yes, ma'am.
May I add one thing? We give out the bear-resistant latches in our office from the grant. If you can do a flyer, like a one-page information sheet of, you know, contact you to add the service, do's and don'ts, that kind of stuff. If you can get me a flyer, you can email it to me, and we will give that out with every latch.
What?
Double-sided, that mail, that'll cover everything.
I need to get one of those latches then. Yeah, I definitely need one. Don't go nowhere right now. I think we might have a few people want to ask you a couple questions in the audience. Come on up, Ms. Ridden. State your name for the record, please. Hey,
Good morning.
Robin Rennick, good morning. And I represent not just my home, but the South Beach Homeowners Association and several, I think about 4 other homeowners associations. And I appreciate the commissioners, and I mean, we want this to work, all right? And we want it to work, so I appreciate the solution finding that we're hearing. I think the FAQ for us would be great. I think that same FAQ needs to be in front of every single telephone that your staff has. So we are getting the same thing. Here's my problem, and it kind of echoes some of this. I went paperless, so they debited, except then I got a paper bill, so I paid twice. And, you know, I called and I said, that's kind of weird. I mean, I just wasn't thinking, so I figured they weren't debiting me. So I think there's billing issues. I pay for backdoor pickup. So starting in December, and I've paid for this actually I paid for the next 2 quarters since I paid twice. This December, I have not gotten my trash picked up. 2 weeks, it took me 4 calls to get somebody called back. I got told that, so first 2 weeks of December, and then I got told, we're not doing backdoor pickup. And I said, well, I'm paying backdoor pickup. And so I had, and since I had 2 weeks worth of trash, it was piled up, and I said, I know you're not going to pile up. I asked my neighbor, borrowed her trash can. Well, we can't pick up 2 trash cans. I said, let's go around here because you didn't pick up, you know, because BCC didn't pick up. So getting really frustrated. 4th week, I pulled it out because it was before Christmas, and I couldn't deal with it. But this Monday, I called and I said, I have backdoor pickup. We don't have backdoor pickup. So my bill says I have backdoor pickup. My 2 neighbors who finally have given up, but they're still paying backdoor pickup because they're rentals. Our HOA requires backdoor pickup for rentals. So I've got 3 rentals who basically they haul it to the front even though they are paying for backdoor pickup. So it's not just me. So I got told we're not doing backdoor pickup. I did finally get a call back from your COO, Mr. Hunter, explained the situation. And he said, well, we're not doing backdoor pickup anymore. And I said, the county contract says you're doing backdoor pickup, number one. So until the county says that, number two, I haven't been informed by the county. And he said, well, we're not doing backdoor pickup because it costs too much money, we're losing money. And we're in this to make money, we need to do that. And he said, so we're going to revisit with the county, and, you know, that's what addendums are for. Well, I just find that highly improper because I'm paying for backdoor pickup. I have not seen a county thing change. My neighbors are paying for backdoor pickup, and I would say that quite a number of other people are. So, you know, this needs to be looked at in terms of not changing midstream, not changing in the county. I hear too many of the other people who say that they're being told when they call the office, you have to unlatch your bear cans so that we can do them. I mean, that's what they keep being told. So if we're unlatching them, then why are we paying for any service? So those are just the, you know, a real major issue. Again, as these gentlemen, my billing issue is if you're taking it out of my debit card, which you did on the, well, I got the bill in the mail and you took it out of my debit card, you know, we need to get these things situated. But I'm expecting backdoor pickup. I don't appreciate somebody telling me that I don't have it, and then your billing office telling me I do have it. And then when I said I now have a full trash can, a week and a half of trash, can't put another thing in it. I got a bag of trash in my elevator, can't take out my kitchen trash, and get told, well, we don't do backdoor pickup, and I don't know when somebody's going to come see you. Not impressed. So customer service needs to be improved, and communication, and if we're paying for it, we need to have this service. Thank you, sirs.
Jason, would you get with Ms. Rennick after the meeting and see if we can get that?
I
Okay.
think
All right.
Hunter addressed most of those issues with her yesterday, from what I understood, but yeah, I'll
If you, I'd feel better if you would, yeah.
He did not address, he told me I had to go back for a pickup.
I think back door's in the contract, am I right?
It is.
Okay, okay, that's all we, yeah. So,
All right, any more questions for Dexter?
I'm good.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank y'all.
Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Hammond, award bid number 1920-06, Honeyville Borough Pit.
Mr. Chairman, what I'm requesting, we had 4 that responded to the RFQ. One of them actually put a price in, a little bit high, to say the least. But the rankings were as follows. Roberts & Roberts 1, GAC Contracting was 2, Gulf Coast Utility Contractors was 3, C.W. Roberts Contracting was 4. I would like permission to negotiate with the number 1 ranked firm, and if we can come to an agreement, I will present a proposal to enter into a contract at the end of the month at your meeting on the 28th.
All right, entertain a motion.
So moved that we let the county administrator negotiate with Roberts & Roberts.
All right, got a motion by Commissioner McDaniel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rogers. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? Any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
And I didn't explain, this is for sand to be procured from the pit. This would be for the emergency berm projects at Indian Pass, Cape San Blas, and St. Joe Beach, Windmark, Beacon Hill. Hopefully, we will have a release before the end of the month from the state on this FEMA money, a pretty big project, and hopefully we'll also have our waiver, and we can move forward. I would say most ideal conditions, talking with the engineer, would be April timeframe to start that project, and it will probably take a year to do it all. So it's not going to happen overnight. But positive, and it also includes sea oats and some sand fencing as well. Next thing I have, Mr. Chairman, on page 5, bid number 1920-08 to sell 2 Kawasaki lawnmowers from Public Works. The high bidder in this case was John Howell at $1,251.52. Recommend y'all award that.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Commissioner McCrone. Second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public on the sale of these mowers? All right, any opposition to that motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Got it on my list. You didn't bring it up, did you, on the bid for the administering the, are we ready to move over to that? Need permission to bid on the HHRP. We're going to do the rehabs. We're going to contract that out for somebody to administer and run that program. It's just going to be better for everybody involved. So if we get permission to do that.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Commissioner McDaniel.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public on this? Anyone in the public? Any opposition to that motion? All right, motion passes 5-0.
Pages 7 through 10 are letters of thank you. I'll just read one. Senator Mumford, Representative Schoaf, Director Moskowitz, and the governor, thanking them for this. We can't say enough about the help for getting this $2 million to match our grant and to make up some revenue loss. It says, the Gulf County Board of County Commissioners wishes to personally thank you for your help in securing $2 million in funding from the state hurricane recovery funds. As you know, these last 15 months have been difficult, but with God's grace and the help of leaders like you, Gulf County is well on its way to recovery. We have no doubt we will need additional resources in the future and assistance, but we wanted to say thank you for all your help and hard work. Sincerely, Sandy Quinn, Chairman. If y'all could approve, we'll send those to those 4 individuals.
Entertain a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Motion by Commissioner Rogers.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rich. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public? Anyone in the public? Any opposition to that motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Yeager's got it.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, good morning. I wanted to touch base with y'all. We've got Cape Sandblast has been in repair since Hurricane Michael, and as you know, the public accesses are limited, or vehicular accesses are certainly limited. It's been a little bit difficult time as to where they were all entering. Many of them had started entering through Cape Palms Park, which worked fine. But that being said, we're trying to limit the number of accesses so you don't have people just entering everywhere. So what I would suggest, and I've talked to Commissioner McCrone about this, is we're going to need that access to build these berms also. So I would suggest if the board would like to take that and make that a vehicular access at that point, we're going to need that through that entire construction, which may take up to, on that particular beach, it may take up to 6-8 months entering that. We can put a gate on it just like we do at the other entrances and those type of things, but you may want that a permitted vehicle entry point. It's already been that way since the storm. And it's causing a little bit of confusion with some of the folks out there.
You need a motion, Warren?
Yes, it would take a motion.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
All right, motion by Commissioner McCrone.
Second.
Second by Commissioner McDaniel. Any further board discussion on this? Anyone in the public? Anyone in the public? All right, any opposition to that motion? Motion passes 5-0.
Mr. Chairman, I see that Mr. Croft left. I wanted him to be here for this. Maybe he'll watch it on the tape. Front page of the Star this past week, and we've had some calls, and I've talked to, I think, all of you about this tax watch report. Again, I know that he did not do this. This is what they put out. And again, the devil can quote scripture for his own purposes, but it's just a bunch of hogwash. The tax watch doing a per capita tax cost is ridiculous. I mean, it's just absolutely, we have, for a small county our size, we have 4 or 5 times the number of structures in our county as they do because we're a coastal community and tourist community. We're levying less today. If we're 14 years ago from our high in the 06 year, we're levying less today by about 25% less than what we levied 14 years ago in ad valorem taxes. And I can't remember if I wrote this down or not. I think we're like 50th. We're 47th in the value of the mill. Yeah, Miami-Dade's mill is worth $2.9 billion, and ours is worth 1.6, almost 1.7 million versus billion. So we're 46th. We're one of the lowest. I think Franklin's the only small county that has a lower millage rate than we do. The value of our sales tax is like 51st. We don't have a Walmart. We don't have any of those. You know, Washington County got a lot smaller millage base, but they've got a lot more sales tax base because they've got a Walmart. But Sherry's got a couple other items I think she might have given you just to dispel some of that.
I went through and reviewed the tax watch report, and, you know, it's all subject, and it's all subjective, and it's different if you don't understand the community. So I just kind of wanted to hit a couple of highlights. When you're looking at the per capita taxable value, so if you took our taxable value and you spread it out for our population, we rank number 11, which does seem high in that, you know, that's at 105,000 essentially. Well, that, if you use that measure, you should really be comparing us to Lee County, St. Johns County, Miami-Dade, and Nassau County. Completely different communities, but our value is high. So just kind of take that into perspective that, you know, our tax level per capita may be low, but we do have high value homes, and y'all have all mentioned, you know, the cost of homes here. So that lines up with that. Those areas have things that even if we had the higher income, we don't have the interstates, we don't have the commuting traffic, we don't have access to all the services and employment opportunities that those areas have. We are a destination. People come here and value that beachfront property. We are only ranked number 43, which is just 55.8% of our just value that is taxable. This is due to various exclusions, differentials, exemptions, and other credits that impact how much ad valorem, you know, we can levy, even if those values are high. Our ranking is again low at 51 when you compare our growth of the total property tax levied since 07-08. Our growth is negative 8.7%. Again, we don't have a lot of the other resources that other counties have due to our rural location, which also is what makes us special. Some of those we're in the bottom 25% for those other available revenue sources, and those include local option sales tax, local option fuel tax, special assessments, special district levies. A lot of these other places have multiple special districts that are able to carry some of those costs. And then our permits, fees, and special assessments are very low, in that low 25% statewide. If you would like a good look at how Gulf County, and the other thing to remember for this report is this is everybody. This is school board. You know, the school board has a required local effort that they don't get to pick. So this is cities, county, water tax, the water management district. This is all tax levies that's Tax Watch is pulling into that report. But you each have a book, and if you look on our website, if you look at the numbered page 1 in your budget book, if you would like to see how Gulf County funds its budget and how it uses its budget, there's a colored graph in there for you to look at. And you'll notice that of our $56 million budget that we just adopted, only 22% of that is funded by ad valorem. So we try to use our resources wisely. We plan for the future. And I will say on the Tax Watch, something that there's absolutely no shame in being ranked high is how we spend our money. We are in the top 25% of all the counties on spending our money on transportation, economic development, and human services.
Michael, just so everybody knows that where do we, as far as ad valorem, you know, we hadn't raised the millage in how many, you know, years now. And compared to the other small counties around us, we're at a low millage compared to them, if you want to.
That's right. Franklin County is the only small county in the state that's lower than we are.
Okay.
And again, it didn't happen by accident. Just having discussions with some of these other places. Look at the number of board employees that you had in 2006 versus today. Public Works is half the size. We're 34 employees fewer than we had 14 years ago. I mean, that's real human beings that have lost their job. We did most of it through attrition, but we had to cut because of the economic meltdown in 2007, 2008, and we haven't come back. And again, I don't think the board's desire is for us to grow government, but there continuously people want more services, and you always have to balance the fact of, do you want more service? Do you want more deputies? Do you want more animal control officers? I mean, I understand we got popped at the city yesterday, and I think we might need to remind them, the city doesn't pay anything for animal control. When I was on the county commission 100 years ago, the city had an animal control officer. They had their own dog pound. They were like, if you want more services, it costs more money, and that's what we always have to balance at. I mean, so again, I think we do a great job with what we've got. We have done more with less. We will continue to do that, and I think front page articles about this. Again, I know that Tim didn't write this, and you know, it was something that the Tax Watch does. It's just such a misnomer for it to say that, you know, we're in the upper range of taxes when it's exactly the opposite in truth and reality. I just thought we needed to clear the air before it went a month past to the next board meeting. Last thing I have, Houston's retirement reception is Saturday the 25th at 5 Eastern Time at the Honeyville Center. He's hung up his coat after 45 years, and hope y'all all can pop in and tell him good luck on his boredom. I don't think he's going to have a fun retirement till he can come back and you put him on the truck in a year or something and he can work. That's all I've got, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Board members got anything? Good. All right, this time.
Mr. Chairman, thank you.
This time, take the opportunity, we'll thank everybody for coming out to this special meeting. This time, entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Motion by Commissioner McCrone, second by Commissioner Rogers.